Hi, everyone. Welcome to our 21st annual Creative Expression Night at Hope Academy. I wanted to take just a couple of minutes at the beginning of our evening to explain what it is that we're doing tonight. Secondly, why we're doing it. And finally, what's your role in this endeavor? What are we doing? Why are we doing it? And what's your role? As a school in the classical tradition, Hope Academy is passionate about the pursuit of truth, the practice of goodness, and the celebration of beauty. And as a God-centered school, we're very intentional about reflecting the image of God in all that we do. Right? It's from the scriptures that we understand that God is first and foremost a creator. As a matter of fact, this is the very first thing we learn about him. In the beginning, God created. And having created all mankind in his image, God calls all of us to join him in creating culture. Hope Academy is preparing students for a lifetime of creating culture as image bearers of God. Creative Expression Night is an opportunity to practice culture making. Recitation is a time-honored practice for developing rhetorical skills by reciting works of poetry and spoken word art from memory. It's an apprenticeship of sorts that requires the development of skills practiced over time, and that's where you come in. The world sees culture making as ultimately a way of serving ourselves, bringing glory to ourselves. However, God designed culture making as a way to serve others, which means that you've got an important role tonight as beauty beholders. Culture making apprentices need cheerleaders, family and friends who see the budding beauty and who call it out. Yes, that was good. And who encourage our apprentices to grow in their craft and do more and more of it. We all know that public speaking is hated by most people because it requires so much vulnerability. You really have to put yourself out there, don't you? Well, our students need an audience of trusted cheerleaders on their team if they're going to grow into the culture makers God's called them to be. Well, thanks for joining us, and thanks for your help tonight. And enjoy the beauty. Let me pray for this evening. Father, we worship you as the creator, the greatest creator of all, and for making us in your image. Lord, I pray that tonight would be a celebration of beauty in the works that we speak and say to one another. Father, help us to encourage your culture-making work in our students. We love you and pray for your help now in Christ's name. Amen. God bless you.
Hi, my name is Sophia Holden. I'm in 12th grade and I will be presenting Morpheus' monologue from The Matrix. I imagine you're feeling a bit like Alice, tumbling down the rabbit hole. I can see it in your eyes. You have the look of a man who accepts what he sees because he's expecting to wake up. Ironically, that's not far from the truth. Do you believe in fate, Neo? I know exactly what you mean. Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life, that there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there, like a splinter in your mind driving you mad. It is this feeling that has brought you to me. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you want to know what it is? The Matrix is everywhere. It's all around us, even now in this very room. You can see it when you turn on your television, when you look out your window. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. That you are a slave, Neo. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage, into a prison you cannot smell or taste or touch. A prison for your mind. Unfortunately, no one can be told what the Matrix is. You'll have to see it for yourself. This is your last chance. After this, there's no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland. And I'll show you just how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more. Follow me.
Hi, my name is Iman Leal Reed, and I will be presenting Good Morning Love by Common and Similar Conditions. I'm in 10th grade, and thank you. The Jubilee of Renewing Me, giving my enemies something new to see. My community, they be feeling me. In the struggle of us, there's a unity. The moral universe, stay schooling me. While the King of Kings really ruling me. I'm an instrument, stay in tune with me. Is orchestrated by Kareem Samora Booming. If Agape had a Cupid, she'd be shooting me. This rap here is Fear's eulogy. Escape rooms with glasses of wine. Just another crutch for my brokenness. A term that I got from my therapist. As a black man, I feel I should be sharing this. In the hood, they say we crazy and we derelicts, but we need it for our kids and our marriages. The old folks say we don't do that, but taking care of self is the new black. Unconventional ways, meditation, mindfulness is just giving the praise. I'm in a phase, all I see is victory. You're on that way, you can come and get with me. I only want what's meant for me, and say the things that's sent to me. In penitentiaries, I met the most enlightened. Find the losses, heaven's excitement. I write with the force of a kid that wanted to be in the source, but that changed of course. I maintained the sauce and became a boss. I apologize if I came across as judgmental or self-righteous, but in you I see his likeness. When we wash all our pain away, we say, oh my Lord. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jesse.
And I'm Eyre.
Today we'll be doing Adopted by J.L. First, I want to say a few things. I saw this poem done at a conference in Chicago, and from that point on, the idea of adoption being a means of mercy or instrument that God uses to remind his people that we are not forgotten castaway orphans has really struck me. So without further ado, here's Adoption by J.L.
My head hung over her casket. Eyes filled with tears of questions that were not worth asking. I looked at her stitched lips and steeled eyes, and it was there that I realized that her face looked a lot like mine. Eyes that didn't give me the chance of a glance now closed, which probably told stories of my early childhood. Lips that would never part to counsel the hurting child in me, saying,
Son.
daughter, I love you. And yo, it's something to look inside the casket at a corpse of a woman whom you never knew, knowing it's the same woman that birthed you. It's crazy. One mourning the loss of my mother, I was awaiting the birth of my firstborn son. Simultaneously, it was like I was standing in the middle of a conversation between death and life, hoping that they could explain this situation to me, and before darkness could fill the void of my identity, desperately. I looked up at the preacher eulogizing the service, and then I looked within myself and got nervous, trying to find the purpose of me even being there. After all, I didn't even know the woman in the casket, and to be honest, I didn't even care. Lived my whole life as a castaway, shipwrecked on an island and deserted on Mother's Day, casted in the sea, forgotten by loved ones like Tom Hanks, holding on to undeflated dreams of I will son. Now suddenly forced to adopt the identity of being Stella's real son, like today my life just begun, and they kept referring to me as her real son, like I didn't notice, so now I'm her real son, like my life before this was bogus, where we're supposed to be focused on reconstructing a relationship that to me seems hopeless, so stop it. I never asked to be adopted. I never asked to feel unwanted or shipped homes because you sold me. I was 18 months old. Was it too much for me to ask for you to hold me? Was that too complicated for you to know me? Did you even care about me? Then why was the name on my birth certificate left empty? Do you only give names to things you thought were worth keeping? Things that have meaning? So am I mean for not grieving? Or should I just pretend that the meaning of my life is just a means to an end? Is this what adoption is? Do you know how much pain your absence has left me? Growing up, I felt like a mere shadow of myself, always walking in darkness, even when trying to be comforted by the light, wondering about the image that formed me, thinking, do we even look alike?
I searched for you harder than shadows cast at midnight. And at midnight, I searched for you in my dreams. A dream of a happy union of the day that we'd finally meet. I figured we'd look each other in the eyes and it'd be there that we realized just how strong a mother and son's bond is. I tell you about my past and you say, son, we can get beyond this. I tell you about the many nights and how I called out to you and you never responded. How I called out to you with teardrops on those cold floors. How I called out to you with Morse code with teardrops on those cold floors. But it seems like the dots and dashes were too weak of a signal to reach you. So I became disruptive in school, hoping I would become someone you just couldn't ignore. My emotions were loud and explosive. They were like louder than bombs. A spark of hope would ignite a light. Each time the teacher asked, do you need me to call your mom? Hoping that one day that they would finally reach you. But those dreams have become nightmare. And those dreams have become a nightmare. And that home has been swept clean and abandoned. Windows boarded up. Because I refuse to let anyone else in. I refuse to let anyone hurt me like this again. It took me years, Mama. It took me years. It took me years, Mama, to let love finally reach me. To pull nails off of wood just to allow a ray of light to shine in. To pull panels off of hinges just to give hope and faith and interest. And listen, when Jesus finally found me. When Jesus finally found me, it took every word spoken for these lame legs to walk, for this heart to beat again, for me to feel affection again. And God said adoption is not for the forgotten, but for the chosen. And he said, you, son, are like Moses, a castaway, cast in the Nile, retrieved upstream by the daughter of the king, adopted and redeemed to set the captives free from the oppressor. And then he reminded me of Esther, the orphan, who proved that God is sovereign. He said, once again, you, son, are not forgotten, but you were called for this, so stand for righteousness. And if you perish, you perish. He told me to shoulder up my cross and to bear it, taking on the burden of freedom. He said, do you think you were the only one adopted? Then he reminded me of Jesus, who was fostered as a fetus, the one who saves, the one who gave us a spirit within to emancipate us as slaves, so we can fully enter in and worship the judge who declared our adoption and our sonship, to whom we cry, Abba, Father.
Every now and then, I find myself kneeling back on these cold floors, with Morse code tears falling. But this time is to give God praise, for never leaving me, nor forsaking me, for being a substitute, a stand-in, even when I felt abandoned, for comfort when I felt isolated. You loved me to death, even when I felt hated, rose from the grave and erased condemnation. I was a slave to sin and blamed my adoption for my heart being hostile.
But you made me a son.
And you made me a daughter.
Show me that adoption is the heart of the gospel. So Mama, may you finally rest in peace, because your son
And your daughter
has finally found peace.
My name is Jasmine Moreno. I'm in 9th grade, and today I'll be reciting Still Arise by Maya Angelou. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and like suns, with the certainty of tides, just like hope springing high, still arise. Do you want to see me broken, bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries? Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard, 'cause I laugh like I got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like Eyre, I'll rise. Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling on bearing the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave, I am the hope and the dream of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Hannah Choi. I'm in 10th grade and I'll be reciting an excerpt from Around the Wicket Gate by Charles Spurgeon. I saw the other day a remarkable picture that I shall use as an illustration of the way of salvation by faith in Jesus. An offender had committed a crime for which he must die, but it was in the olden time, when churches were considered to be sanctuaries in which criminals might hide themselves and so escape from death. See the transgressor. He rushes toward the church. The guards pursue him with their drawn swords, athirst for his blood. They follow him even to the church door. He rushes up the steps, and just as they are about to overtake him and hew him in pieces on the threshold of the church, out comes the bishop, and holding up the cross he cries, "Back! Back! Stain not the precincts of God's house with blood, stand back!" The fierce soldiers at once respect the emblem and retire, while the poor fugitive hides himself behind the robes of the bishop. It is even so with Christ. The guilty sinner flies straight away to Jesus, and though justice pursues him, Christ lifts up his wounded hands and cries to justice, "Stand back! I shelter this sinner. In the secret place of my tabernacle do I hide him. I will not suffer him to perish, for he puts his trust in me." Sinner, fly to Christ. But you answer, "I'm too vile." The viler you are, the more will you honor him by believing that he is able to protect even you. "But I am so great a sinner." Then the more honor shall be given to him if you have faith to confide in him, great sinner though you are. If you have a little sickness and you tell your physician, "Sir, I'm quite confident in your skill to heal," there is no great compliment in your declaration. Anybody can cure a finger ache or a trifling sickness. But if you are sore sick with the complications and diseases that grievously torment you, and you say, Sir, I seek no better physician. I will ask no other advice but yours. I trust myself joyfully with you. What an honor have you conferred on him, that you can trust your life in his hands while it is in extreme and immediate danger. Do the like with Christ. Put your soul into his care. Do it deliberately and without a doubt. Dare to quit all other hopes. Venture all on Jesus. I say venture, though there is nothing really venturesome in it, for he is abundantly able to save. Cast yourself simply on Jesus. Let nothing but faith be in your soul toward Jesus. Believe him and trust in him, and you shall never be made ashamed of your confidence, because he who believes on him shall not be disappointed. Thank you.
My name is Matisse, I'm in 9th grade, and I will be reciting a piece called Rightful by Rudy Francisco. This piece is about the toxicity of our society's current idea of what it means to be masculine, and what we as men have to go through to unlearn these ideas and behaviors. And the article says, the Mexican government confiscates approximately 30,000 illegal firearms per year. When the guns are taken, they get dismantled, and the metal is used to make other types of weapons that will be later utilized by their military. In 2012, Pedro Reyes, an artist from Mexico City, convinced his government to donate the guns to him, and he turned them into musical instruments. So somewhere there's a tambourine, a drum set, a guitar, all made from things that were used to take people's lives, but now they create a sound that puts life back into people's bodies. Which is to say, a weapon will always be a weapon, but we choose how we fight the war. And from this I learned that even the most destructive instruments can still create a melody we're dancing to. Sometimes, don't we also call that a battle? I wonder how long it took to convince the first rifle that it could hold a note instead of a bullet. But still fire into a crowd could make everyone move. When I was 6, I was taught how to throw a punch. In the 80s, that was the anti-bullying movement. The first time one of my classmates took a yo mama joke a little too far, I remembered my training. So I turned their nose into a fountain, my fist 5 pennies. I closed my eyes, made a wish, and came home with bloody knuckles. I remember staring at my hands the same way you stare at a test when all the answers are correct. I didn't know what class this was, but I did know that I was passing. And isn't that what masculinity has become? A bunch of dudes afraid of their own feelings, terrified of feeling any emotion other than anger. We're constantly yelling at the shadows on the wall, but we still haven't realized that we're the ones standing in front of the light. We learned how to dodge a jab. We learned how to step in before we swing. We learned that the heart is the same size as the fist, but we keep forgetting that they don't have the same function. We turn our boys into bayonets. We point them in the wrong direction, we pull their triggers, and we ignore all the damage they're doing in the distance. The word repurpose. The word repurpose. The word repurpose means to take an object and give it amnesia. It means to make something forget what it was trained to do so you can use it for a better reason. I am learning that this body is not a shotgun. I am learning that this body is not a pistol. I'm learning that a man is not defined by what he can destroy. I'm learning that someone who only learns how to fight can only communicate in violence, and that should not be anyone's first language. I remember coming across a picture of a strange-looking violin, and the caption said that it was made out of a rifle, and I thought to myself, you know, someday that could be me.
Hello, my name is Ani. I am a senior at Hope Academy, and I will be reciting Latino Americanos, Children of an Oscuro Pasado by Xochitl Morales. Baile conmigo. Hips made for the rhythm of merengues and cumbia, samba, swagger, and a pinch of azúcar mixed into my backbone. My first language was Spanish, learned by the sweet stories told by my papi at bedtime. My tongue, a formation of the stardust of my heritage, an intertwined galaxy of rolled R's and the Pledge of Allegiance. It was something I would soon forget after I was told it was wrong. Taught a new way of introducing myself. Mi nombre es turned to my name is after the girl in my class told me she couldn't understand me. So I was taught to reject the language of my family and to be proud to call myself American over Mexican. Now, my Spanish 2 native classes seem so foreign to me that I can't seem to remember what comes after Domingo on my pop quiz. And I would learn to hate my name, much preferring something like Tiffany, living behind my silent TL and X that sounds like an S because they said it was strange. When I go visit my grandmother, all I can do is nod or shake my head. Because her native language sounds like a tongue twister I can't seem to master. So she reminds me that the colors in my soul and the rhythm in my bones are blessings, and that I come from the Incas, the Mayans, the Aztecs, los Mexicas, who built an empire nunca imaginado. That we are children of an oscuro pasado, a mixture of pain, sadness, and oppression. But we inherit the strength, we have inherited the passion. She reminds me that my name holds the power of the most legendary Aztec princess who ruled with the grace of the most beautiful flower. So this is for the women who still name their children in Nahuatl, and the men who wake up on Sunday mornings to listen to Vicente Fernandez with their fathers. And families that still pass on recipes of arroz con pollo. Because we are the sons and the daughters, and we hold the stories, the journeys of the remembered, those who walked through deserts, waded through rivers. We wear their legacies on our shoulders with pride, and we do not lose ourselves to broken perceptions, but rise above with the help of our powerful stories, our melodies, our galaxies. Porque somos Latino americanos, and we will not be forgotten. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Yunajri. I am a senior in high school, and I will be presenting my own spoken word that I wrote myself that is Untitled. They hating on me because I'm speaking the truth, and if they hate me, they gonna hate you. He was speaking the truth. They say I ain't spitting facts. Well, that's a lame excuse. They trying to lock me up for good, pull up they so-called proof, then poof. There goes my chance to prove I'm innocent, in the sense that everything I'm saying is irrelevant. Evidently spitting facts, I point you to the evidence, so all of y'all can chill out. Swallow your pride and arrogance, you're arrogant. The way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but he that listens to good counsel is wise. So while you advise that you listen, grab a paper, don't forget your pen, and I'ma need y'all to be quiet so I can begin a beacon of light. That's his word, a light that brightens pathways. Now that's not absurd, and I'm speaking the truth. Don't care if this is what you heard. Please don't interrupt me again. It's for the birds. You heard? Well, ye have light, believe in the light, that ye may be the children of light. So I told him, going wrong with it, don't look back. Be prepared, because they might come and attack. And that's facts. Relax. Ain't no harm in what I said. And calm down with all that. Ain't nobody dead. Well, except for Mary's son, set us up it's time for fun Sunday morning. Rockets rolling, they thinking a body stolen, surprise. And he ain't needed disguise. You could tell it was him by the look in his eyes. Could tell he was wise. Could tell he had some things in his mind. Mind you, at this time, everybody's looking surprised. Like, wow, can't believe it, how? I got places to be. Let's get this done now. Because now ain't the time for me to be accused of lying. Man, I'm sick of trying, sick of crying your relatives, telling me to sedatives. Said his stories true or mine's irrelevant. Irrelevantly taking my evidence out of context. Text me when you can. Yeah, that was the plan, but it disappeared like Batman. Can't bring her back, man. I need for y'all to understand that every day's a test on where I stand, where I began. That proves that I'm the woman that wouldn't, that couldn't, that shouldn't eat up all the fruit that caused this mess, caused this stress, and caused these tests. Yeah, caused these tests. Tests that I can't ace, can't face on FaceTime. Mom told me get up off that phone, don't waste time. Write rhymes, they think it's a crime, because I'm not talking about making sure these pockets hurt. I'm talking about the millions of people I'm a concert. I'm talking about the billionaires trying to be my sponsor. I'm talking about the things that'll make you sit and ponder and wonder. Through your mind, take it to the dark side, replenish all the things that you was trying to deny. I got your mind popping like the 4th of July. I'm bringing back all the things that you was trying to hide. Wait, remember when you compromised? Remember when you thought about suicide? Remember when you told everybody to move aside? Even though you was wrong, couldn't swallow your pride. And they replied, say you didn't comply, that you had to move aside, because you ain't supplied, provide other things that they described, that you lied, so you lied in your bed and you cried. Wipe the tears from your eyes, they put on the disguise. In the back of disguise, you was talking to somebody higher. Talk to the same person when somebody had you fired. You said, look, please help me, I'll do anything that you desire. Yeah, that's kind of funny. Am I still a liar? Got your feelings some type of way. The food that you hid from mama is on your plate. You thought that you could feed the dog and get away. You should have saved your food for another rainy day. If you did that, you probably could have been like me. Now that's fine, but you'll get there eventually. The first step is to know that you that chick. Tell these little shorties, baby, I ain't average. Why would I settle for a C when I'm an A? Who do these little boys think they finna play? Tell them I am not the one. Don't come second to none. Give me 20 more seconds and I promise I'm done. I know who I am, I know where I'm from, I know why I came here, and I know who I come from, and I know how to get it done. Keep a smile on my face like I got a grilling. This beef was edible, I ate it like somebody grilling. Now I'm just chilling, got them in their feelings. I got balls for days, but it's time to really end. We coming to an end. I wish this track wasn't finished. I could have went for like 20 more minutes, honestly. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Amelia Owens. I'm in 10th grade, and I will be reciting I Don't Need Your Love from the musical Six. My preface is that this is a song from the musical Six, where about the 6 wives of King Henry VIII and their lives. It is presented as a contest to see which queen had the worst life, and this is what Catherine Parr, the last queen, says to the others. You know I love you, boy, in every single way. You know I love you, boy. I'll miss you every day. You know I love you, boy. I wish that I could stay with you and keep the life I made with you. And even though this feels so right, I'm holding back the tears tonight. It's true. I'll never be over you because I have built a future in my mind with you, and now the hope is gone. There's nothing left for me to do. You know it isn't true, but I must say to you that I don't need your love. It'll never be better than it was. I don't need your love. I've got no choice. With the king, I stay alive. Never had a choice. Been a wife twice before just to survive. I don't have a choice. If Henry says it's you, then it's you. No matter how I feel, it's what I have to do. And if somehow I had a choice, no holding back, I'd raise my voice. I'd say, Henry, yeah, it's true. I'll never belong to you because I am not your toy to enjoy till there's something new. As if I'm gonna give up my boy, my work, my dreams to care for you. Ha! Darling, get a clue. There's nothing you can do, because I don't need your love. There's nothing left to discuss, because I don't need your love. But I can't say that. Not to the king. So this is goodbye. All my love, Catherine. So I sent that letter to my love, got married to the king, became the one who survived. I've told you about my life as a final life, but why should that story be the one I have to talk about just to win? I'm out. That's not my story. There's so much more. Remember that I was a writer. I wrote books and psalms and meditations. I fought for female education so all my women could independently study scripture. I even got a woman to paint my picture. Why can't I tell that story? Because in his story, I'm fixed as one of 6, and without him, I disappear. We all disappear. So I had no choice, but now it's me alone, so I've got no choice. I'm taking back the microphone. I'm gonna raise my voice. They always said, we need your love, but it's time for me to rise above. It's not what went down in history, but tonight, I'm saying this for me. Henry, yeah, it's true. Too many times it's been told, and I have had enough love stories to get old. And you might think it's tough, but I've got to let your love run cold. I'm taking back control, and I need you to know that I don't need your love. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Eyre Caldwell. I am in 9th grade, and I'll be reciting Psalm 10, a Psalm of David. Why, O Lord, do you stand far away? Why do you hide yourself in times of trouble? In arrogance, the wicked hotly pursue the poor. Let them be caught in the schemes they have devised. For the wicked boasts the desires of his soul, and one greedy for gain curses and renounces the Lord. In the pride of his face, the wicked do not seek him. For all his thoughts are, there is no God. His ways prosper at all times. Your judgments are on high, out of his sight. As for his foes, he puffs at them. He says in his heart, I shall not be moved. Throughout all generations, I shall not be adversity. His mouth is filled with cursing, deceit, and oppression. Under his tongue are mischief and iniquity. He sits in ambush in their villages. In hiding places, he murders the innocent. His eyes stealthily watch for the helpless. He lurks in ambush like a lion in his thicket. He lurks that he may seize the poor. He seizes the poor when he draws them to his net. The helpless are crushed, sink down, and fall by his might. He says in his heart, God has forgotten. He has hidden his face, he will never see it. Arise, O Lord our God. Lift up your hand. Forget not the afflicted. Why did the wicked renounce God and say in his heart, you will not call to account? But you do see, for you know mischief and vexation, then you may take it into your own hands. To you the helpless commits himself, you have been the helper of the fatherless. Break the arm of the wicked and the evildoer. Call his wickedness to account till you find them. The Lord is king forever and ever. The kingdoms perish from his land. O Lord, you hear the desire of the afflicted. You will strengthen their hearts. You will incline your ears to do justice to the fatherless and the oppressed, so that man who is of the earth may strike terror no more. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Beyond Stone. I'm in 9th grade and I will be reciting What is a Woman by Jackie Hill Perry. The other day, a young lady said behind the mic that she hated being a woman. She wanted to understand what it meant to be one. I've often wondered the same, looked around for the teaching of such to tell me of myself. We all learn by imitation or indoctrination. Mama and media can't help but train, tutor us into carbon copies of themselves, so that knowing who we are or who we should be is really knowing whose costumes we wear on most days, whose skeletons we switch with when Adam took his nap. I was told that a woman should be independent, autonomous, that she needed not man or moon to keep her in orbit, but moved about as wind and breeze, leaved without needing permission to interrupt all that is still under restraint. I was told that a woman could not truly be herself, that is, if herself is not dark enough, light enough, if her hair is no Rapunzel replica. I was told that my body is not belonging of myself, nor its beauty innate, but that I am not beautiful unless told by another woman's son to be so. When did the mouths of men, in whose image women are not made, begin to damage us so silently? Maybe it was when we began believing the voices that have no deity in it. I was told that a woman should not submit, should not be meek, that type of behavior was for women who treated their voice like a secret. I was told not to be a secret, but to be a siren, to be as machete as I can and honor my opinion at the expense of respect. While some men may believe themselves to have liberty over a woman's body, we have equally learned how to tear, rip, and undo dignity with a mere sentence or squint. It's called strong in our society. They say that's what a backbone looks like. But beautiful is the spine that remembers where it came from, not blown about by every wind of doctrine or dust, but by God himself. You see, Eve did not attain life by finding beauty in lies. We women must be smarter, must be wiser, must be bent on loving truth, no matter how contradicting it is to a dying culture. I tell you, a woman is no fool unless she chooses to be. If you ask me, what is a woman? I would say she's a bone made alive. The distinctions that set her apart as do the difference between a firefly and a newborn. Women are not men. Their calling is not a synonym of inferiority. Distinctions are not the child of patriarchy. They come from a creative God. Don't you see his fingerprints in your hips? The whistling shadow of his mind when your body became home to another name that called you mommy, and all the gladness that you forgot could exist? A woman submits to her God, her husband, her church. She is no weak-willed or brittle-backed woman, but only as strong as faith and humility may identify her to be. They say, submission sounds like servant. That sounds like something to rebel against. I say, ain't it funny how being a servant is repulsive to everyone but God, and we wonder why we can't recognize his face? If you ask me, what is a woman? I would say she is a sister to all, even those whose blood is not of the same roots, but is still as kin as her mama's firstborn. And she treats these women like a winter quilt, making sure her mouth does not unstitch that which was made to keep cold hearts warm. We are made up of nurture and everything comfortable. That's why we feel so deep and cry so sudden, because the emotions that make us women do not make us unstable. We are necessary, nuanced at best. But a woman should be nothing more or nothing less than what God has made her to be. If you ask me, what is a woman? I would tell you, ask the God who made her.
Hi, my name is Valerie Lira Angeles. I am in 9th grade, and I will be reciting Proud Daughter of Immigrants from Mexico. Undocumented immigrants, illegal, criminals. These are words that my parents constantly hear over and over and over again. My parents are always being reminded of how they'll never fit in, and that they simply don't belong here. But people that say these words don't understand how hurtful they can be. They're simply too blind to see the story behind these amazing people. Both my mom and dad are from Mexico. They are from the state of Chihuahua. My dad was born in a big city and my mom was born in a small town. My parents have the best childhood ever. Even though they had to work every day in the fields with the rays of the burning sun, they had everything they needed. They had family and love. My dad grew up with 6 siblings and my mom grew up with 7. My parents would always tell me stories of how the weirdest things would make them happy, such as playing in the river with teacups or making their own dolls out of sticks. They tell me how these things would make them smile and appreciate everything they had in life. But unfortunately, at about the age of 18, they were forced to leave. They were forced to leave because they could only afford to put one meal on the table each day. They were forced to leave because they only had one pair of shoes. They were forced to leave to a place where people like them would be treated differently. My parents left everything behind. My mom crossed the border with proper documentation, so she had no trouble with Border Patrol. But recently, I learned about the painful story of how my dad had crossed. My dad crossed the border with his brother. Their journey was long and rough. They had many stops and stayed at numerous hotels. And at their last stop, they were launched into a truck with a big heap of people and covered with a thick sheet of plastic. My dad nearly suffocated, but he had a vision of happiness. But he knew that this happiness would be attained with sacrifices. About 8,000 people died trying to cross the border between 1998 to 2017. Yet my parents still made the choice to cross the border that separates wealthy from poor. This is the story behind my wonderful parents. The story that people never hear. The story that tells others how many sacrifices they've made. But my parents have not stopped working. My mom works cleaning houses, and every day I see her come home with her knees bruised from kneeling down and cleaning bathroom floors. Yet she still manages to help us with our homework and put a really, really good Mexican flavor on our table, such as arroz y frijoles. My dad works in hotels. He makes sure that everything is working completely fine in every room. He hurts his hands and his legs trying to repair a broken pipe or fix a sink. I never get to see my dad, but I know that he sacrifices his afternoons in order to give us opportunities he was never given. These are sacrifices that my parents constantly make for me and my younger sister. These sacrifices are the reason why we have food on our table 3 times a day, and why we have enough money to buy ourselves some clothes. These sacrifices are the reason why I'm here, the reason why I'm standing here to tell you their story. Yet some people have the nerve to call these so-called criminals lazy and say that they steal jobs. Others discriminate and make stereotypes about mi gente. My people deserve better because they have earned their stay here. They have also earned their respect. They deserve more acknowledgement. Mi familia merece estar aquí porque ellos se han ganado su permanencia en este país. My family deserves to be here because they have earned their stay here. My mom always tells me how she wants me to grow up and have a good job instead of cleaning houses like she does. I have promised her that the dream she has for me will come true and that I will never stop until all the sacrifices that my parents have made for me have paid off. I will try my best to get good grades in school. I will try my best to make my parents proud of their little princesa. When I get to see my parents in a house, retired, and enjoying life, that's when I'll know that all of their sacrifices have been worth something. That's when I'll know that my goal has been made. I dream of graduating high school and college. I dream of being a successful immigrant lawyer. I will be many things in this world, but one thing I will never be is a disappointment to my parents. My people, mi gente, mi familia should not be discriminated. We work hard for what we want, and we fight for a better future. Thank you.
Hi, I am Susanna Hassan. I am in 10th grade and I will be reciting 2 excerpts from Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. Do you think I am an automaton, a machine without feelings, and can bear to have my morsel of bread snatched from my lips and my drop of living water dashed from my cup? Do you think because I am poor, obscure, plain, and little, I am soulless and heartless? You think wrong. I have as much soul as you and full as much heart. And if God had gifted me with some beauty and much wealth, I should have made it as hard for you to leave me as it is now for me to leave you. I am not talking to you now through the medium of custom, conventionalities, nor even of mortal flesh. It is my spirit that addresses your spirit, just as if both had passed through the grave and we stood at God's feet, equal as we are. Women are supposed to be very calm generally, But women feel just as men feel. They need exercise for their faculties and a field for their efforts as much as their brothers do. They suffer from too rigid a restraint, to absolute a stagnation precisely as men would suffer. And it is narrow-minded in their more privileged fellow creatures to say that they ought to confine themselves to making puddings and knitting stockings, to playing on the piano and embroidering bags. It is thoughtless to condemn them or laugh at them if they seek to do more or learn more than custom has pronounced necessary for their sex.
Hello, my name is Eliana Reed. I will be reciting for you today a poem by Maya Angelou called Sunrise. Here we go. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may shroud me in the very dirt, but still like dust I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with me? 'Cause I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and like suns with the certainty of tides, just like hopes springing high, still I rise. Did you want to see me broken? Bowed head, lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries? Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard, 'cause I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like Eyre, I'll rise. Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from the past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts my ancestors gave. I am the hope and the dream of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise. Thank you.
My name is Elliot Hoyleen.
And I'm Nathaniel Smith.
We're in the 11th grade. We will be performing What, Where,
by Tom Goddard.
Hello? Hello?
Hello, are you there?
Oh, hello.
Yes, hello.
Oh, thank goodness.
Can I help you?
Yes.
Ah, what can I help you with?
My car broke down.
What seems to be the problem?
Well, my car won't work.
Well, yes, I realize.
There's no need to be rude about it.
Sorry, what happened?
Well, I was just driving along and the car died.
Died?
Stopped working, conked out, gave up, died.
There's no need to be like that.
Sorry, the car stopped working and I need roadside help.
Of course. That's what we do.
Perfect.
I just need some details. Where are you?
Yes.
I mean, what town?
Where?
The name of the place where your car broke down.
Where?
The place where you're standing right now.
I am in where?
What are you asking me for?
I'm not asking you. I'm telling you.
Where?
Yeah, that's the name.
Where's name?
Yes.
Well, go ahead and tell me.
Well, that's it.
That's where?
Exactly.
Look, do you actually own a car?
What sort of question is that? Of course I own a car. It's broken down.
Well, then where is it broken down?
That's right.
Is it?
Yes.
Look, when the repairman comes out, where do you want him to go?
Straight there.
Where? The car?
Yes. Got it?
Got it. Where?
Yes.
Like, okay. Do you have a Maps app open?
Yes.
Where does it say that you are?
Where?
Your location.
Where?
On the map.
In where?
What are you asking me for?
I'm not asking you. I'm telling.
Fine. Forget the town.
No, not forget.
I mean, let's move on.
Okay.
What's the name of the street?
How'd you know that?
What?
Yes.
Hardin?
No. What street?
What are you asking me for?
I'm not asking you. I'm telling.
You're not telling me anything.
I'm telling you everything. Now, I'm
I
on
don't
what
know.
street?
I don't know.
Why not? I just told you.
Told me?
Yeah.
Told me what?
Yes.
What?
That's it.
The name of the street?
Spot on.
Spot on.
Spot on.
Ah, okay. So now we're getting somewhere. Spot on street. So what's the name of the town?
No, that's the name of the street.
What is?
Yes.
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 So yes street in what town?
No, what street? Where?
What are you asking me for?
I'm not asking you.
Wait. Okay, this is getting nowhere.
No, just where?
Okay. Well, say I'm driving to you. What sign should I look out for?
Where?
When I'm driving to you.
Where?
Driving to you.
Where?
Let's not start this again.
No, the car won't start. That's the problem.
Is there a sign on the road?
Yes.
What does the sign say?
What?
The sign.
What?
The sign on the road.
What?
Read out the lettering on the sign.
What street?
Yes, the street.
What street?
The street that you're standing on.
What street?
Okay, I can't do this anymore. I'm just gonna tell the repairman whatever you tell me.
Excellent. This is taking a very long time.
Where's the town?
Yes.
Yes, town.
No. Where?
Where town?
Do you have difficulty understanding English?
No. Why?
Where town? Me on phone. You listen.
What?
Yes, that's a street.
So you're on what street and where?
Now that's the first thing you said right.
I don't even know what I'm talking about.
That's perfect. What street where?
Please don't start this again.
No problem.
Okay. So what's your name?
Mike.
Alright. What's the first letter of your last name?
R.
Mike R. My car? Ugh. Good night.